Dun 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 dun. Hi, welcome to Duff Makes It, and I'm going to show you how I made this from scratch, the Millennium Falcon. And we're going to do a lot of other projects. I'm going to show you a lot of other things in my shop and everything. So hit like, share, subscribe, and come back and see lots of other videos that I'm going to start posting. Thanks. Right here it shows me cutting out the Millennium Falcon with a jigsaw on a 1/4 inch piece of plywood. Here it is, completely cut out, and this is just one side of the ship. Here's a template that I actually downloaded from the internet. It was really small and I had to enlarge it and tape it together in order for it to work. This is building the inner structure of it, and this is the bottom, I think, of it, and then of course I got the other part that I'll put on top, the other side of it. You can see some of the structure coming together, inner structure there that holds it together. It's all glued and nailed. I did this to strengthen it. It's about 46 inches long, maybe 46.5 inches long. There it is with the top. And it's got glue everywhere because I was gluing it and I cleaned it up. And I put this there just to show what it's going to kind of look like when it comes together. That's a wire spool, and I use that for an inner structure part for the top of it, where the turret goes. And I cut a round piece of wood there to go on top, and then in the next image you'll see right here I'm starting to build the actual outer structure of it that makes it more dimensional. And then I made a support there for that piece of wood, and I tried to use this thinner wood to make it as light as I possibly could, and it's still pretty heavy. It's probably a good, 20-30 pounds, maybe a little more than that. And then what's coming up here is that's where the cockpit's going to be. I made it in sections. The holes right there for more of the greebly stuff that's going to go on later. Another angle of that. It's right there, and then more of the outer hull, gluing and nailing and holding it together till it dries, and trying to find the center line there. Try to get everything kind of straightened up. Now here it's starting to look like an object, and some of the things I did on the outer edge of them I didn't really do right to begin with it, but I ended up able to cover some of that up. There's the back part of it, the largest piece on the outer hull. There shows the dowel rods that go in those holes. That so I'll put the some of the greeblies and different things on top of that. That's where the turret goes. Right here it shows where I had to sand down these edges of this wood to make it to where it would fit kind of tight. I bondoed all, a lot of these edges anyway, but I wanted it to fit tight right there so that it would look better. And there it is on both sides of those pieces. And it's another angle of that. Template, that's a template I made out of cardboard or card stock paper just to make a template. It's starting to look like something at this point. Just got a few angles of it. Here I am starting to build the cockpit. Did half rounds and glued and nailed them. That's the bottom side of it. It doesn't go. I didn't make it. The bottom side of it doesn't actually go on. You know, on the bottom it stops. It's not split. This is a lid off a coffee thing. I don't know what it was. Some kind of coffee. More of the cockpit. And I jumped around a lot on this thing. I did a little bit here and a little bit there, so I wouldn't get bored. And more cockpit structure right here is where I cut on a bandsaw the angle of the nose of the cockpit, and then I sanded it smooth. I bondoed it and sanded it smooth. And that shows a picture where the cockpit, and then I started cutting out these little panels that would go over the whole entire surface on the top side of it. More detail area. I put paper, cardstock, it's like a cardstock paper, over the cockpit, and then I covered it with tape. And then I put fiberglass on it, and it didn't work, and I had to cut it off. So here's the fiberglass I put on it, but I think the fiberglass was bad fiberglass. It wasn't no good, so it wouldn't dry very good. And I couldn't do anything with it. I put fiberglass resin and matte, and it just wouldn't dry. I think it was just bad. So, and I didn't really do that correctly anyway. So I ended up cutting it off and doing it a lot different, which you'll see later on. Here I am putting those side pods on, and then cutting more, just testing some of those little panels, seeing how I wanted to do it. I wasn't really sure how I wanted to do that in the beginning, and then later on I did a little different, but you can't tell it. And there's where I cut that fiberglass off and threw it on the ground. So I started over with that, and I molded it with a paper again, that cardstock paper, and then I did Bondo on it and smoothed it out, and it ended up doing a lot better. I put some wood pieces on it, which I shouldn't have. It made it a little bit too bulky looking, but I kind of like it. It's a little different than some of the other ones that I've seen. There's the side pods, the round side pods that go on both either side of the ship. I just skipped around a lot on some of these things. Making templates with tape and different things just to get the shapes that I needed, and then kind of looking at them just to see how they look, if the size was correct in proportion with some of the other things. And some of this is plastic too. It's like a thin styrene plastic, and it works well. And there I am making templates. So that's it for this video. I just want to show you this image again. I'm going to probably do this so you can get a good look at it. And in the next video that I have, I'll just continue on with it. And I hope you tune in and check that out. Thanks for watching.